Can Christians do yoga? Should Christians do yoga? Am I worshiping some kind of Hindu god when I do certain yoga poses? Is yoga some new age practice? What even is yoga? If you have ever Googled any of those questions, you've probably gotten a long list of horrifying results telling you that Christians should absolutely not do yoga. Now, I'm going to choose to think the best of these people and believe that their fear of yoga really comes from a heartfelt desire to not stray from the path of Jesus. You see, for most of us who were raised in Western Christian culture, the Eastern roots of yoga are foreign, and the practice can be mysterious and intimidating. But as someone who has personally found greater intimacy with God on my yoga mat and has seen thousands of people find the same through the Jesus-centered yoga videos on this channel, I am convinced that yoga is not just okay for Christians to do, but can deeply transform their faith. My name is Caroline Williams, and this is the first video in a 3-part series on this question: should Christians do yoga? Now, every good yoga video starts with an intention, and I would like to start here with 2 intentions. The first intention is this: curiosity before judgment. I think we can agree that we have gotten ourselves in a lot of trouble in the past by jumping to judgment before walking through the valley of curiosity. So friend, let's enter this conversation with an open mind rather than a closed fist. The second intention is this: we can disagree with dignity. Now, my perspective as a Christian who practices yoga is not the same as other Christians who practice yoga, or as other Christians, or as other yogis. And that's okay. God meets us in our individual experiences, and what may be right and true for me may not be the same for you, or the same for you perhaps in this season. And again, that's okay. So now that we've set our intention, let's jump in. Jesus taught us that every tree is known by its fruit. So let me start by sharing some of my story and the fruit of yoga in my own life. I grew up in a non-denominational Christian church, and I found yoga through heartbreak. The first heartbreak happened in college when I was dumped by a boy I thought I loved, and every day that summer I walked down the hill from my house to the yoga studio, and I sweat and I cried, and I felt the broken pieces of my heart be mended back together by a God who was kind and gentle rather than punishing or angry. A few years later, yoga and I reconnected again, this time over a heart broken by a deep feeling of failure when the career path that I'd chosen was leaving me feeling miserable. I faithfully went to church, I read all the books, I filled my journals with my longing cry for God to speak and tell me who I was and what I was meant to do with my life, and all I heard was a lot of silence. That is, until I stepped on my yoga mat. I'd settle into Shavasana, the final pose in a yoga class where you just lie still on your mat, and the tears would start flowing down my temples, pooling in my ears and on my yoga mat, and I would hear God say to me so clearly, "I am so proud of you. Do you have any idea how much I love you?" And I always wondered, how could I hear God so powerfully and intimately in a yoga studio with statues of Ganesha everywhere and rap music playing and the instructor chanting things in a different language? And I believe the answer is this: God has to be bigger than all of it. Yoga has helped me, the queen of multitasking and controlling and people-pleasing and hypervigilance, to channel all of that anxious energy through embodied and mindful movement. And through this, I have found a sense of presence that I have never been able to tap into before. And friends, it's in this presence that the Holy Spirit hovers, connecting our hearts to God, whispering to us what God is up to in this world, reminding us what it means to be a child and a friend of God. So if you're wondering what yoga looks like, this is what yoga looks like to me. Moving through a series of physical poses and then spending some minutes in quiet meditation with the aim of surrendering the heavy burdens I've been carrying, noticing the drumbeat of love echoing around me, and giving thanks with every cell in my being to the God who is worthy of it all. I practice yoga with the intention of connecting with and worshiping God. Do you have your own story about the fruit of yoga in your life? If so, I would love to hear it. Share a sentence or 2 in the comments below so that we can celebrate with you. And if you are interested in seeing more fruit of this tree of yoga, all you have to do is scroll through the comments on this video or any other video on this channel and read about the peace and presence and freedom and breakthrough that people are finding on their yoga mats with God. So in the next video, I'm going to talk about the number one objection that I hear to Christians practicing yoga, and we'll look a bit more closely at the roots of yoga. But if you're interested in exploring how yoga can help you connect with the presence and the love of God in and around you, then friend, join me for Yoga Week. For 4 days, I'll be going live to teach you some yoga and meditation that will help you find the peace of God today. Sign up for Yoga Week at this link here and make sure to subscribe to my channel to keep following along with this series. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on your mat.